Hello, all you Jedi Knights out there. Welcome to the Phantom Podcast. I am Griffin Newman.
I'm David Sims.
Functioning as a slight time delay.
Yep, sorry.
In saying his own name. We are preoccupied looking at our phones because we're going to do something a little bit different on this episode.
Of the Phantom Podcast.
Of the Phantom Podcast. Yeah. The podcast about Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Film released in 1999 by director George Lucas.
His fourth film.
It was meant to be a big, expansive sci-fi saga.
Well, it's a big, expansive movie.
Yes. Unfortunately, he never got to make any sequels.
As far as we know.
So this is the first and only Star Wars movie to the best of our knowledge. And if anyone were to reference anything about other Star Wars movies, we'd call them a fool.
We'd be baffled.
Those films
nonplussed.
Don't exist. Last week, we deconstructed his director's commentary, and he kept on saying, oh, this is a recurring theme through all the Star Wars movies. You idiot. Focus on one movie at a time. You've only made one film.
That was a real problem for us last week.
A real problem last week. You made 4 movies, but only one of them is a Star Wars film. You made THX 1138, American Graffiti. I think there's one other one, and then Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Yeah, right. Something in the 70s. Yeah. Of course, as always, we have with us here the Ben-Deucer himself, the pro-doer, producer Ben.
Hello, Fennel. Hold on, I'm going to say something that makes sense. Hello, gentlemen.
Okay.
Hello, Fennel.
Producer Ben, you are not allowed to edit that out, and now Hello, Fennel is our catchphrase.
I'm editing that out.
You're not.
Damn it.
No, I
You're
don't
not.
think so.
Hello, Fennel.
Hello, Fennel.
Hello, Fennel. We're going to make Hello, Fennel t-shirts.
It was like it was fellas and gentlemen all wrapped up into one.
Hey, it was perfect, and now we have a catchphrase. We didn't have a catchphrase, we didn't have a t-shirt, now we got both. Producer Ben's going to play an important part in this week's episode because this week we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do what we call our performance review.
That's right. I don't know how I feel about the bum, but everything else.
This week we're going to do what I call our dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun performance review.
Yes, the stakes are high.
The stakes are high. One of the big complaints that is lobbed against The Phantom Menace is that the acting is terrible. People say this all the time. Oh, the acting in that movie is so bad. It's so wooden.
Yes. Often people say everyone in the movie is bad, except for one person.
Yes.
Everyone has one
performance
safety. Yeah.
They kind of like, but they by and large think that it is a film filled with bad acting. Has a ton of great actors in it, as we discussed in the past.
It's got a cast to die for.
A murderer's row
of
thespians. So we are going to try to answer this question conclusively.
Is the acting good or bad?
Is the acting good or bad?
Does the cast of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace do a good job?
Now, we all know that art's subjective. Criticism exists in shades of gray, but not today.
So, no.
Not today.
No. This is a pass-fail system.
So we're going through the IMDb cast list of The Phantom Menace, going one performance at a time and judging whether or not we think they're good. David and I have to agree, and then we'll tally up a point for either the good column or the bad column. If David and I are in a deadlock, Hello Fennel himself, Purdue Ben.
God damn it.
Will be the tiebreaker.
I'm the Robert Duvall of the judge. Wait. No,
yeah,
he was the jail.
He was the judge, yeah.
He was the judge, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Who is the judge in the judge, though? Like, is there another judge judging the case of the judge?
Yeah, I don't even remember who it is.
All right.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the judge?
No, we talked about this on the first episode.
Okay. We should maybe do a whole podcast about the judge.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. Judging the judge would be... Yeah. Because it's...
Verdict?
That is one of the craziest movies I have ever seen. I have ever seen. Not to make this about the judge.
Okay.
But just to try to tease our listeners so they get excited and write in demanding that we do a 10-part miniseries on the judge. There is a plotline in the judge where in his first night back home, Robert Downey Jr. hooks up with a young bartender played by Leighton Meester.
Oh.
Right? Already gross.
Sure.
Then he reconnects with his high school girlfriend, played by Vera Farmiga.
Okay, all right.
They got a thing going on. Then one day he meets up with her. Oh no, Leighton Meester
is her daughter?
Yep, already gross. And then he works out the timeline and realizes...
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
And does he have sex with Leighton Meester in the movie?
Unclear.
Wow. I did not know that was a plot in the judge.
You see them on screen making out aggressively.
And it's his daughter.
I won't tell you the resolution. I will tell you the resolution is terrible. I don't want to spoil it for you, but you will not believe how it resolves itself. But that is all established within the first 20 minutes of a film that is 2.5 hours long.
Right. And was apparently an unofficial remake of Old Boy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And for most of those 2 hours, Robert Downey Jr. is just kind of freaking out about whether or not he fucked his daughter. It's like a major subplot in the film, and he keeps on trying to get a definite answer from Vera Farmiga for whether or not he's the father. And she's like, why do you care? And he's like, I don't know, I just want to know.
That actually sounds kind of like the Robert Downey Jr. trying to, sort of suavely ask a very impossible question.
Yeah.
I mean, we do enjoy watching him do that.
Hey, look, Judge and the Judge, what's the verdict? Will be coming soon to the UCB
that's
Comedy
coming later.
Network.
Yeah.
So let's just dive right into this, right?
Okay. Yeah, it's a lot of people.
Top billed. It's a performance we've discussed a lot on the show.
We're going by IMDb's billing, which is usually in billing order.
It seems pretty correct. Looking at it right now, there's one that I think is
out of order.
Yeah, it looks largely in order, but
Robert Duvall might say you're out of order.
He might say you're out of order.
Yeah.
Bad Duvall.
Right.
Not going to put it in my Mad TV reel. Top billed here on IMDb at least. The great Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson,
Academy Award nominee.
Only nominee. He never won.
Only nominated once.
Only nominated for Schindler's List.
Should have been nominated for Kinsey.
Snubbed for Kinsey.
Was great in that.
A surprising snub that year.
Surprising snub.
An Irish actor.
Yeah.
Northern Irish, I believe.
Yeah.
And he'd been around for a long time. Like, he'd probably been famous for somewhere in the realm of 10 years, right?
Yeah, well, if we want to look at the timeline here, we can do this thanks to this week's sponsor, IMDb. This week's episode is sponsored by IMDb.
Thanks for the money, IMDb.
Please send us some money, IMDb.
Yeah. He'd been sort of floating around, and I think in the early 90s, like Darkman, that's 1990.
Right.
That's where he starts to become a leading man.
Well, Excalibur's his first big thing. That's 81. And
wow. Right. Well, he's
right. But at this point, he's young, he's supporting, he's going through all of that.
I forgot about that, yeah.
So he's still doing a lot of TV, and then I guess his breakthrough moment, he does Satisfaction, one of the, I was getting that confused with the other movie. But Deadpool, he's in Deadpool.
Yeah.
Darkman 1990, I guess that's his first big leading role.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Under Suspicion, Husbands and Wives.
Husbands and Wives.
Was a breakthrough leap of faith. He's really good at Schindler's List. Is a game changer.
1993, and yeah.
After
that, he's a lead.
So he's Nell, Rob Roy. He's showing himself to be. So he's a great leader. Les Miserables, playing Jean Valjean.
Right, and then on to Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace as Qui-Gon Jinn, the wise Jedi.
I would have no argument with him being top billed, first of all.
No, of course not.
Because last week we were talking about how Georgie Boy, in the commentary, says that he thinks that it's Queen Amidala's story told through the Jedis.
Yeah, but he probably gets the most screen time in the film.
Yeah, and he certainly has the biggest presence in the film, and I would argue the best performance in the film.
Yeah, probably. I would probably agree with that. It's a disappointing performance only in that we know Liam Neeson can do a lot.
Yes. Within the realm of Liam Neeson performances, it is a lesser entry. But I would argue there is not a false note in the performance.
No.
Which is a pretty big accomplishment considering the shit he has to say.
And the creep he's playing, but the film is not presenting him as a creep.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you only really realized the enormity of his creepiness by watching the movie 18 times in the last month.
It's over and over again you realize, wait a second, he just slips the blood thing onto the kid's arm.
But he plays it with such nobility and such grace that you actually...
He has a lot of presence.
You don't realize how creepy he is.
Yeah.
He has a tremendous amount of presence. He's got this beaten, like Irish poet's heart, kind of thing going on. Have I ever told you this story? I was on vacation with my family.
Okay. How old are you?
8 or 9.
Okay.
I think I was 9. And it's the year before Phantom Menace comes out.
Right, 1998.
Right, and the movie is top secret at this point.
Okay.
No one knows anything other than the cast.
Right.
And we're walking into our hotel and sitting there.
Oh, boy.
In the hotel lobby, at the bar, slumped over.
Oh, man.
Is Liam Neeson.
Right.
The great Liam Neeson.
Is his hair long? Does he have the Qui-Gon hair? No,
I think it's short hair.
Yeah.
I think it was a wig.
It's probably a wig.
Yeah.
It's weird hair.
And they'd wrap filming. I mean, as you remember in the commentary, they said a lot of shots were filmed like a year later.
Right.
So I think they shot the movie in 97.
Yeah,
there was like a year of post, then reshooting, and then, right.
Yeah.
So this was probably a year after principal photography had wrapped. And he's sitting there like real drunk, right?
Right.
In retrospect, I have a very clear image of him in my head. I don't think I identified him as drunk, even though I knew he was at a bar. But now I saw it. This is a functional
drinks
drinker.
In. Right,
yeah.
Yes.
And my dad goes, Griffin, do you know who that is? And I go, no. And he goes, that guy is the lead in the new Star Wars movie.
He knows what's going to appear. He's not going to say, that guy was in Schindler's List.
Yeah,
He's
no.
going to say, that guy's in the new Star Wars
He
movie.
knew that was going to blow my mind. I
Right.
went, really? He went, yeah, he is like the new Jedi, I think.
Right.
And I went, oh my God. And he went, do you want to meet him? And I went, yeah. So my dad brings me over and he goes, hi, Liam, I'm sorry to bother you. And he like says, yeah. And he goes, these are my sons, Griffin and Jamesy. We called my brother Jamesy at the time.
Sure. As you still do.
Yeah. And they're big fans of Star Wars. And they wanted to meet you. And he went, oh, hi, nice to meet you boys.
Sure. He's polite.
Right. Shook my tiny
Tiny
baby
little
hand
hand.
with his hand, which is the size of a head.
Right.
And I said, excuse me, sir, can you tell me what the new Star Wars movie is about?
Fair.
Right? That's all I want to know.
Right.
And he went, I can't tell you anything, but I can tell you it's going to be magic.
Wow. And he was right. The best one yet.
The best one yet.
Let's never forget your review.
But I think
That's very sweet. That's a nice story.
he seemed sincere when he said it.
Right.
I think he hadn't seen an assembly of the footage yet.
Right. Well, I mean, you imagine he shot the film largely against screen, so he may have literally just meant like, I can't tell you because I don't know.
I don't know.
Because it was so perplexing to make this film.
Yeah.
But I assume that magic will ensue to turn it into a good movie.
Right. But I think we can firmly put it in the good column, right?
Yeah, we're agreed on Liam Neeson. He just brings the authority that the role needs.
Yeah.
Even if he's maybe sleepwalking a little bit.
But he sleepwalks as well as anyone in the business.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the guy can't give a fully
gravitas is what
uninteresting
we're talking
performance
about.
because of his gravitas. He's a real movie star.
Right. What if I just said every performance was bad, and then this podcast was just a fight? If I just every single one, I'm just like, no.
Hey, if you want to do it, because here we go.
Here we go with Ewan McGregor.
Might be a contentious one. Ewan McGregor in the role of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes.
The Padawan learner to Qui-Gon Jinn. Somewhat poncy Englishman.
Mm-hmm. A little cheeky, a little too cheeky for my taste.
Doesn't do.
You were right.
a
The
ton.
negotiations were short.
Shut up.
Fuck you.
Okay, so Obi-Wan's
Rip
arc
that
in
rat tail off your head.
his arc in the movie is he does nothing and nothing and nothing and nothing and nothing, and then at the end, after Qui-Gon is killed, he steps up, kills Darth Maul, and agrees to train Anakin.
Fine, I'll
He
train
really
the
does
boy.
very little else in the movie except sort of provide a little bit of back chatter and, as you say.
Now, one could argue that he was meant to be the audience surrogate character. A lot of
suppose.
films that take place in huge universes
Yeah.
like this, unlike our own, they create one character who's sort of simple,
Yeah,
wide-eyed.
He asks questions,
Right.
and he provokes explanation. Yeah,
Right. But usually for the audience surrogate character to function, they have to be emotionally relatable.
Right.
You have to really feel a connection to that character.
Yeah, no one feels a connection to the freaking dork.
No,
the,
he's a
like head of the class.
Right.
Yeah.
But this performance, he's very, very bland in this movie.
Yeah.
Now, Ewan McGregor as an actor, we've disagreed on him in the past.
I suppose so, but I would say at this point, he's one of the most exciting actors in
Yes.
Hollywood.
At this point, up until this point, his track record is pretty phenomenal. Since then, he's been a little hit and miss. But let's go through here and look at.
Oh no, I mean, before this, he's been in Shallow Grave
Right.
and Blue Juice with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Trainspotting, which is his real breakout.
Yeah.
Um,
Emma.
Yeah, and The Pillow Book. He makes this sort of combination of challenging British art dramas like Trainspotting, like Shallow Grave, these sort of like iconic 90s thrillers.
Velvet Goldmine.
Velvet Goldmine.
Yeah.
That's not a thriller, but similarly, yes. Life Less Ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also has played a sweetheart in movies like Emma and Brassed Off and Little Voice.
Mm-hmm.
And so, he seems to be maybe a future leading man, a future marquee idol.
And you could even argue at that point, looking forward, going, oh my God, Ewan McGregor just got cast in Star Wars. He's going to be a mega star.
Right. He hasn't had his big hit yet, but you figure, here
He's
he goes.
got the
This
goods.
is it.
Another thing I'd say is he does have this sort of scruffy charm. Not in all of his films. Some of them he plays more posh, but certainly
but he does. You're
in the Danny
absolutely
Boyle
right.
films and
Yes.
Life Less Ordinary.
Yeah.
There's Velvet Goldmine, especially. There is he uses sexuality in a very interesting way. Mm-hmm. He likes showing his penis a lot in movies.
He does.
But he does have this aggressive sort of sexuality, this bad boy attitude. You go, oh, interesting guy to place into this stead sci-fi universe.
Yep.
none of that transfers over.
It's as if he was commanded to play it as flatly as possible.
He is essentially playing Martin Prince from The Simpsons. That is what his performance is. Now, he is, an engaging actor. He does have presence. His technical skill, he never looks into the lens. He never clearly forgets a line on camera.
Wow, no, you're right.
He showed up.
He says all the words in the right order.
Yep. He didn't gain a lot of weight halfway through filming so that it'd be a continuity error.
No, not at all.
The basic professionalism of being an actor is in place.
I think, you figure maybe the films are pointing towards some future sequels. Like maybe he's just being set up as like, this guy will be important later.
Right. They probably had bigger plans for the character that never really got to pay off, like a Common's role in Terminator Salvation. I remember McG saying that in the third film of the Terminator Salvation trilogy, that character was going to become really interesting.
We really missed out on McG's Terminator trilogy. But the weirdest thing is the man's a Scottish actor. He has the voice, just the most dazzling accent and voice.
Yeah.
And he is doing this bizarre accent.
Horrible, boring, fucking...
really, it's like he's straining to hit every note of it. And I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah.
It's like he's imitating another actor.
Yeah.
And, I just don't know what the purpose of that is.
So is your vote to put him in the bad column?
Yeah.
I will cede to that. I think it's a weak bad, I think it's not horrible.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it was the material. He wasn't given much to play. As you said, he doesn't really have an arc, but he failed to make it engaging, and I guess that was his one big role. But props to him for not looking into the camera, as I said once again.
Yeah. Good job, Ewan.
Yeah.
It's only your 14th film, and you're not looking into the camera.
Now, here's a big one. Natalie Portman in the role of Queen Amidala / Wait a second, she played Padmé too?
Oh, I think we covered this.
We did cover this.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
This might be contentious.
Natalie Portman, born Natalie Hirschlag.
That's right.
One of the prettiest Jews of all time.
Absolutely.
One of the prettiest people of all time, but a
definition of sort of a Jewish maiden, yes.
Yeah, well, and I want to put the emphasis on Jew because she makes me proud of our people.
Absolutely.
Breaks out in 1994 with Leon the Professional. I mean, a star-making performance, man, I would argue, from a
the
very,
kind of
very young girl.
performance people still talk about.
And they go, who's this?
Very natural.
Yeah, one of the best sort of child performances ever.
Yes.
And arguably one of the best debut performances ever. To play a lead in a movie your first time at bat really kills it. Goes on to do Heat.
Yeah, after this, she just pops up in movies.
Beautiful Girls. Everyone Says I Love You. Mars Attacks.
Yes.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Phantom Menace is her 6th film ever.
Right. Yeah, I think she had also done Anne Frank on Broadway, but I'm not sure.
Yes, she had done Anne Frank on Broadway. She did one short, but it's Leon the Professional, directed by Luc Besson. Heat, directed by Michael Mann. Beautiful Girls, directed by Ted Demme. Everyone Says I Love You, directed by Woody Allen.
That's right.
And Mars Attacks, directed by Tim Burton. Mm-hmm. She's worked with some big directors.
And she's one of the only people to survive in Mars Attacks.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think it's just her and Lucas Haas, right?
Taffy, the president's daughter. She becomes the first lady, I think.
Yes. And maybe Annette Bening survives in Mars. Not a lot of people.
Annette Bening does, yes. Yes.
Let's do Mars Attacks sometime.
I love that movie.
It's a weird movie.
That was my favorite movie when it came out.
That movie frightened me when it came out.
Oh, me too, and that's what I loved about it.
Yeah.
My dad had to drag me to the theater because I was convinced I was going to run out screaming, and I loved how much it scared me.
It's frightening.
When you're really funny.
Yeah.
I think the movie's great. But she's only worked with huge directors, huge stars, carried her on against.
That's right. That's absolutely right. She's obviously been anointed a talent in Hollywood.
Right. Another person where they went, oh my God, Natalie Portman is in Star Wars. A, that's going to make her huge.
Right.
And B, that's going to be a great boon for the movie.
Yes. Yeah. You're tapping into this vein of talent.
Right.
How are we doing, Natalie?
We have two different performances to discuss.
It's true. She gives two performances. She gives very distinct performances. We have the regal, procedural Amidala with the voice, this weird stilted accent.
Played as a Canadian on South Park. I will not let the Trade Republic.
Comiti.
And
then we have the looser, slightly snarky Padmé, the handmaiden who's in the Tatooine scenes and eventually obviously turns out to be the same person.
Yeah.
And she's a little more natural.
Mm-hmm.
most of her scenes I feel like are with Jake Lloyd or with Anakin.
Yeah, but she's fun because she's just playing kind of young girl in that. I mean, I think she's playing herself.
And she actually is the only major character to sort of bite back to Qui-Gon.
Yes.
Qui-Gon's like, we're going to do this now. And she's like, I don't know if that's a good idea. And of course, he's just like, I'm going to ignore you. But
which, if in the film, not to keep on griping about this.
Keep griping.
But if in the film, we as the audience had been told clearly that Padmé was the queen in disguise as a handmaiden, rather than just sitting there and going, okay, Natalie Portman's playing both characters, something weird's going on here.
Right.
There actually would have been opportunity for good comedy.
Right.
Those scenes would have played better, where she's going like, I don't want to walk. And he's like, well, enjoy walking, you know? Like,
yeah, they would have played better.
Better.
I don't know that they would have played well.
I'll give that to you.
Yeah.
Funny note in the commentary, George Lucas mentioned that Natalie Portman sprained her ankle and that through
she's limping around
through all of those Mos Espa scenes.
Yeah.
She's limping around, which I always thought was kind of an interesting character choice because it made her look more dowdy than the queen.
Yeah.
It turns out she just fucked up her body.
Yeah, well, poor Natalie. How old is she when she makes the film?
So it's, let's see, if we're saying that they probably shot in 97 and 98 for a 99 release, she would have been 81, so she would have been 16.
Right. So, and again, there seems to be a lot of promise for the future for this character.
Yeah, but
that's why they're hiring young, you'd imagine.
Right.
Yeah.
We wanted her to be able to do many films, you know?
Yeah.
I think this is a case of someone being in over their head. She had done a lot of films. She'd worked with a lot of big directors, but that's a key point here. She worked with a lot of directors who were very hands-on, known for their good performances, working with other actors. Suddenly she's thrown in wearing these very heavy costumes, working against a green screen a lot of the time. As we went over, some of the, stuffiness, staidness of the Queen Amidala character is not her, is another actress we'll get to a little bit later.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of those scenes, it's not her. But even watching what is there on screen, it's not a great performance.
I would agree. It's not really a spellbinding performance.
No. People say it's a bad performance. I wouldn't say it's a horrible performance. No. I know Natalie Portman claims that she wasn't able to get work after doing Phantom Menace.
Wait, is that true?
She did an interview recently where she said she wasn't able to get work because everyone thought she was such a bad actress, and Mike Nichols wrote... Because he had done the Seagull with her. I think they did Seagull as Shakespeare in the Park.
You're absolutely right. Because
I know it's not Shakespeare, but it was part of the Shakespeare in the Park season.
Let's
fucking nerds. Don't get on my back. The Public Theater stages two plays.
Yeah.
One's Shakespeare, one's not.
Almost always.
We call it Shakespeare in the Park. That's what us New Yorkers do.
Yeah.
You fucking
nerds.
Look it up.
Well, no, I was just going to talk about how after Phantom Menace... Mm-hmm. She's in Anywhere But Here and Where the Heart Is, but obviously those were filmed before the Phantom Menace.
I think also both those were Fox pictures, so it strikes me as Fox knowing they had Phantom Menace going, we got to cash in, she's going to be a big star now.
And those are her teen drama, her last as a teen. And then after that, it's kind of nothing. There's something she did in 2002, but the name escapes me.
Okay.
And then in 2003... she's in Cold Mountain very briefly.
Very briefly.
And it is a spellbinding, fantastic performance.
Well,
I don't know if you remember it.
Yes.
And that really, to me, reintroduced her as a serious, adult actress.
So, she couldn't get work.
Right.
She did The Seagull with, Philip Seymour Hoffman. I think Meryl Streep was into it. It was an insane cast.
Right.
Mike Nichols worked with her, was like, you're really good. And she's like, no one believes me.
Which is really crazy. One movie, really? It shows you how toxic the Phantom Menace really was.
Yeah, and there also are, to the credit of a snarky public, there are a lot of examples of people who are really good as child actors, and when they get their teenage years, they get a little more self-conscious, they get a little more stilted. Sometimes you see kids who are really good just because they are natural, because they're not self-aware,
Yeah.
You watch the movie Boyhood. It's a perfect example of how much better he is as a kid than he is as a teenager.
Of course, there's a naturalism. And
right.
Sometimes child actors lose that.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about another child performance soon.
Oh, boy, can't wait.
Oh, boy.
So I think the argument was maybe she lost it. Maybe she's not one of those ones. Maybe she's not a Jodie Foster who grows up and grows into it. Mike Nichols, on her behalf, wrote letters to a lot of big directors and said, hey, she's a really good actress. You should really work with her.
Right.
And that is why Anthony Minghella hired her for Cold Mountain.
Interesting.
She was willing to do a smaller role, even though she was a bigger star.
It's such a good scene.
Yeah.
It's really just one scene.
Yeah, and she said that's what remade her career. Yeah. That performance then
and then
showed
in
people.
2004, she has Closer and Garden
Gets nominated
State,
for an Oscar.
And even though I despise both of those films, and we can talk about that at some point.
I dislike both of them too. Yeah.
That's certainly
that's
where she vaults, I feel.
But she gets an Oscar nomination for Closer. She wins she wins the Golden Globe, and then
she does
for Closer.
And she I believe wins the New York Film Critics. And
then she ultimately goes on to win Best Actress at the Oscars for Black Swan.
She's doing great.
That's one of my...
Marries a choreographer, has a baby.
Yeah.
Natalie's doing great.
So she's doing great, and so I won't feel too bad about chalking one up in the bad column for her.
Yeah. It's a bad performance.
Okay.
Sorry. It's true. We soften the blow for Natalie just by going over her future successes, but it's a
bad performance. But I think we both like her, and we want to stay in good graces, so we want to make sure that everyone knows in the wider sphere of things, we like Natalie Portman, but it is a bad performance.
Yeah.
Next on the list, Jake Lloyd. It's a bad performance.
Oh, boy.
I'm putting down the tally mark right now. We can discuss it more, but there's no argument.
We can discuss it more, but I mean, it's a noxious performance.
It's a noxious
and you feel for the guy because he, in later date, would say, like, it really ruined his life.
Oh, yeah.
Being in this film.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to do is watch YouTube videos of interviews with Jake Lloyd from the last 5 years. There are a bunch of them because he will occasionally do conventions. And they'll interview him there.
Right.
And he says it totally ruined his life because kids come up to him. He's gone through college and high school and life. You know, he had to grow up. He was 7 when they shot the movie. And everyone just fucking makes fun of him all the time.
I think it's really tough for male child actors because if you made an iconic movie when you were prepubescent, it's usually bad when you're when you're a teenager. Usually that is not an easy process to watch unfold.
Yes, and he also had a classic kid face.
He did. I mean, he reminds me of that 90s cherub, like Jonathan Lipnicki.
Yes.
Those sorts of cutie pie kind of blonde little boys.
Of course, the great Jay Lipnicki. And if you agree with us that he reminds you of Jay Lipnicki, please tweet at Jay Lipnicki on Twitter and say...
And direct him to our podcast.
Say, yes, Jake. Hashtag, yes, Jake.
Anyway.
At Jay Lipnicki. But
look, I mean, I think the biggest problem here is that maybe George Lucas does not know how to direct children at all because...
I would argue.
You would argue with me?
I would argue that is correct.
But do you want to argue with me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no.
I think you're right.
Because... every line reading, it feels like it's the first one he gave, and Lucas was just like, good job.
Yes.
Because even though he talks in the commentary about having multiple takes where people are carrying on emotionally, which obviously disgusted him and made his blood run cold, but Lloyd really just, it just feels like he, are you an angel? Like, it's just, he's reading it off really of a cue card almost.
He feels like very coached by his parents.
Yeah. The weirdest thing is he had given what you would think of as a very natural, charming child performance in the film Unhook the Stars before this. Yeah.
With Nick Cassavetes, who's mixed as a filmmaker but is good with actors, I would say is his
I'd agree.
line.
Yeah, his problem is writing, not acting. Yeah.
Right. His control of emotional tone isn't great either. But he's good with actors. He was in Jingle All the Way, where he's fine.
He's kind of a brat, right? I mean, he just wants the toy.
But he does it well enough.
And that's before Phantom Menace as well, of course, yes.
When I don't want to say he got cast because of that performance, but that was like when they announced that he was playing young Anakin, it was like Jingle All the Way star. It was like that had just come out.
Right. And it's like no one got excited, but how are you going to get excited about a set? You just assume
the kid's fine.
Yeah.
He did a movie called Apollo 11, a thing called The Host TV movies, 5 episodes of The Pretender, playing young Angelo, Timmy, and Ronnie Collins. So he played 3 different characters across 5 episodes of The Pretender. Shows some range.
Hey. Probably played a cute kid in all of them. He's an ER, right? Didn't he have an arc on ER?
Sorry. I skipped over that. He was 4 episodes as Jimmy Sweet on
right,
ER.
Which I remember him. He's a cute little, sick kid. He checked the boxes for what this role is, which is sort of a disarmingly cute little kid.
Yeah. But it's not a good performance. He's a kid. I don't want to anger him. I don't want to blame him. I don't think he's done... Yeah, I'm looking at his further IMDb after this, and he did a movie in 2005 called Madison.
I can't say I know it, Jakey.
Nope. It's a Jim Caviezel movie.
Okay. Wait, he directed
it? No, he starred in it. Jim the Weasel Caviezel. Directed by William Bentley. A story about a man's personal struggle to victory in the 1971 Madison, Indiana hydroplane regatta.
Wow, that sounds scintillating.
Jake Lloyd's picture on his IMDb is still him in
the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
It's an on-set. It's actually a very cute photo. He has this like mop of hair that is just... His look is really great.
His hair is incredible. Visually, he's amazing.
Yeah. As is true for so many things about this movie. Visually, they nailed it.
As discussed perfectly, previously, not discussed perfectly.
No, perfectly.
As discussed previously and perfectly, I had the Anakin Skywalker action figure.
Okay.
One of the things I spent my money on, the little I had left over after buying a Comtech communicator, and I'll tell you, the character translated perfectly to that medium.
Right.
It was a great action figure. Just because the mop of blonde hair,
right.
Cool little
rags.
rags.
What did you do with him, though? Like what?
Put him in the pod racer. I got as
Hey.
Yeah. And he had the helmet. The helmet looked great.
Right.
I can't give him
It's
credit
a good
for
helmet with the goggles. Yeah.
But other than that, his credits between 1999 and 2005, those are the only two movies he made, Phantom Menace and Madison. His only other credits are Star Wars Episode 1, the video game, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer video game, Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles video game, Star Wars Super Bombad Racing video game, Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds video game, Star Wars Racer Revenge.
Why did they make so many video games? It's one movie.
I don't know.
It's so weird.
We should review the video games.
I do own Pod Racer, the pod racing game on the N64.
I used to have that one.
Yeah.
The trademark sign of what I hate usually in child actors. I'm very critical of child actor performances because I think if you get a good child performance, it's like capturing lightning in a bottle.
Right.
And it makes your film immediately relatable. Because kids are amazing audience surrogates. Because everyone's been a kid. Yeah. Kids are so simple and pure in the way they see the world that you can get away with a lot more with a kid. I wrote a whole fucking paper on this in film school before I dropped out of film school.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. It was a good paper. I got an A-.
Nice.
But there's a thing I hate in child performances that this seems to really suffer from, which is when a kid has clearly just been coached through the lines by his parents in the trailer over and over again. Right. Where they just went like, no, Jake, say it with more like you're curious.
Right.
Okay. Are you an angel?
Yeah. And, well, even more problematically, the director is not then smoothing that.
Right. That's the big difference.
Right.
So you're pretty much getting Jake Lloyd's parents' performance.
Congratulations, guys. You were in a major motion picture.
Yeah. You destroyed it.
All right. We got to move on.
Yes. But the problem with that is then they get to set and they don't know how to relate to other actors and actually interact and listen because they've just been learning.
They've just been doing it in
fuck you, Jake Lloyd's parents. Jake Lloyd, you seem like a decent guy.
Jake Lloyd, sorry for everything you went through.
Okay, now here's an interesting one. Ian McDiarmid in the role of Senator Palpatine.
And Ian McDiarmid is a wonderful English actor.
Tony Award winning.
Yeah, he's a theater actor.
Yes.
And in England, I believe the Almeida, he was basically the artistic director of one of England's major theaters. And he's actually Scottish. Sorry.
The UK.
Yes, the Almeida Theatre. Yes.
Went to the Royal Academy in Glasgow.
And he's well, I mean, we haven't really talked about this much. Well, he's credited as Senator Palpatine.
I believe he also is playing Darth Sidious.
Yeah, it's actually not credited, though.
No, but the bottom half of his face looks very familiar.
We haven't really talked about this because it is the most devastating, flooring twist of the film.
Yeah.
In that it's not even revealed in the film.
No.
But so let's say he's playing two sides of one coin. So as Palpatine, he's this charming, kind of disarmingly, almost self-deprecating, like man of the people type politician.
And
right?
I will say, if not a fully comedic performance, it is one of the few performances in the film that actually feels fun and light.
And aware.
It seems he's having a good time playing this.
I would agree. And it's, God.
Aware is a good word.
It's making me realize just how devastatingly wooden the acting is in this film.
Yeah.
Because when he's opposite, say, Natalie Portman,
right.
You're just like, look at this guy. See?
Yeah.
He's delivering the lines like he's a human being.
Right.
And the way he talks about the Senate, even though he has a lot to convey in almost no lines, like, the bureaucracy, and he does it so well.
Well, that's like a real classical theater actor thing where he can just find sort of the music and the dialogue and make it have sort of interesting rhythms, even if what he's saying isn't dramatically interesting itself.
It's absolutely the case.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just getting higher and higher on this performance.
Yeah,
and
this is kind of a great performance.
Yeah, it's a good performance.
Actually.
And the fact that you're suspicious that maybe this guy's up to no good, and there is that note of slight suspicion as he's talking to Amidala, especially when they're in the Senate, when he sort of leans over her shoulder and gives a sort of Iago like nudge. Yeah. And then Sidious, that's a scary guy.
Yeah, and it's
someone we basically never see in person. He has a lot of terror.
It's a skill piece. It's physical stillness combined with that change in voice.
Yes,
you're only really seeing the bottom half of his face, but even the way he contorts his mouth and the words come out, it's slightly different than with Palpatine. Not just because there's sort of a grimace on his face,
right? And
the voice is great. It is a great, scary voice.
It's like he's been doing it for 30 years.
Not only are we obviously
20 years.
him in the good column,
but
I'm now starting to argue he was maybe snubbed of a Best Supporting Actor nomination.
I think he was snubbed of a Best Supporting Actor
for 2 performances. This is really good, and one could argue he kind of single-handedly carries the movie any scene he's in.
Yeah, which is not enough.
Okay,
all right. Next is Pernilla August as Shmi Skywalker.
Skywalker.
Pernilla August is, I believe, Swedish actress. Am I right?
Yes.
And this, I know, was her first English language performance, and she basically recited the lines phonetically.
She had been in some Ingmar Bergman films.
Yeah.
Who was a great director, who was wonderful with actors.
Yeah, well known for his directing.
Right. So once again, showing she can do it in the right circumstances. She knows how to act.
Yes, and she was married to Billy August, which is where she got her last name, who's another great Swedish director.
Here's an interesting thing I just found. You were saying that you thought it was her first English language performance.
Yeah.
She was in 2 episodes playing different characters of the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Okay, fair enough.
Which was produced by
Lucas.
Georgie Boy Lucas.
Right, yeah.
So that must be where he took note of her.
It must be. I think maybe it was her first film.
Here's a very, very other interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
In 1999, the same year that Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, comes out, in a TV movie, she plays the title role in Mary, Mother of Jesus.
Oh, so she is, she's playing 2 virgin birth people.
Yep. And in both cases, their sons went on to, we think, accomplish much goodness, but we don't know.
Yeah.
I'm saying Anakin is the chosen one. He's going to clearly restore balance to the Force. That's what we assume would happen in the later films.
Right.
And Jesus killed it. He was the chosen one. He restored balance to the Force.
I have some news for you, by the way.
What?
Here's her quote on Wikipedia.
Okay.
I was very happy to get the part, but it was the first thing I did in English. Young Indiana Jones was in Italian and German. I never spoke English in that. So I was a little nervous.
Ooh.
So it was her first English language performance.
Okay.
And I think, I don't think she had enough confidence in the language. I think it was a lot of, learning the lines phonetically.
David, how would you weigh in on this performance?
I think she's good. I do too.
I thought we were going to fight over this one.
No. I like her, even if she's maybe sometimes struggling with the accent, and her accent is a little off-putting because no one else in the film really talks like her.
But I remember as a kid being really taken in by her voice.
I agree.
It doesn't fit in.
Fantastic voice.
But even the accent is very interesting.
Well, she has a soft maternal energy even to her way of speaking.
Yes, and I would say in the same way that Ian McDiarmid gives one of the few fun performances, she gives one of the few, I would argue, kind of emotionally resonant performances.
Yes.
I think you actually feel the weight of her love for her son.
Right. Even though we don't get to see her carry on.
Right. She's not given a ton to do, but even with bad scenes, you feel that maternal love.
And the house that they live in. It is baffling that Watto agrees to surrender Anakin and not her, because her role... She's like the worst.
She doesn't do anything. He's the best worker. He builds robots. She does
genius.
Nothing.
He's a mechanical genius.
Yes, and he wins pod races.
What the hell does she do?
So much fucking money off this kid.
I don't even understand what her role is.
I think some of the things she does might not be appropriate for a PG film. I'm saying, knowing Watto, what a scumbag he is.
That guy.
I'm not making crass jokes. I'm saying honestly that might be subtext.
Jesus.
Maybe it was an immaculate birth. Maybe she just didn't want to tell Anakin that Watto was her father. What if we come up with the theory that Watto is Anakin's father? What if we come up with the theory that Anakin is half Jewish, not Jewish in the eyes of the Lord because his mother probably isn't Jewish?
It's unclear.
Yeah. What if?
Oh boy.
Am I going to say it? Yeah. What if Anakin's penis is a little blue triangle? What if Anakin's penis, his 7-year-old little boy penis, looks like Watto's nose? Watto's uncircumcised nose. We're going to email George Lucas. We'll hopefully have an answer for you by next week. I assume he'll get back to us shortly because he's not working on anything right now.
Yeah, he's George Lucas at example.com.
Yeah. Example.com.
Right. Yeah.
He's going to email us back and tell us whether Anakin has a little baby uncircumcised blue penis.
I just want to, she's in the good column. Right? We've marked her down.
She's in the good column.
So we're moving on to Oliver Ford Davies.
Oliver Ford Davies.
Another really well-known English Shakespearean.
Really? Okay. So I'm not familiar with his work outside of
this. In England, I mean, he's on the stage all the time. He's a stage actor.
He treads the boards.
He treads the
motherfucker treads them boards.
Yeah, he did a Lear that I saw, and he was terrific.
A good Lear.
Oh, absolutely.
He plays the role of Sio Bibble.
He does. So Sio Bibble is sort of the whining, poncy advisor to Amidala.
Queen Amidala, I'm not sure.
And he, at one point, he sort of complains that their people are dying and Naboo is in trouble. It is some sort of ruse to lure her back to the planet, so you assume that he broke under jelly torture at the hands of the Nemoidians. He does an okay job conveying all of that.
Yeah, I give him good. Once again, it's the classically trained thing. He does find a music in the performance. It's fun. It's light. There's the scene where he's talking to the Nemoidians and they're in the robot chair. And
that's right. Yeah,
he's kind of entertaining in that.
Naboo is peaceful. He's always
he's overdoing it in a way that's actually kind of appropriate.
You know what I kind of like is the one where he's on No, that's Palpatine too. I was going to give him credit. It's Palpatine who's on the holographic message, and he starts breaking up, and he goes, pop, 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 pop.
Palpatine really should have won Best Supporting Actor that year.
But then Natalie goes, Senator Palpatine.
Yeah. Senator Palpatine. Okay, so I'd say we give...
Thanks, guy.
We give Sio Bibble...
I'll give him a yes.
A light pass, right?
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have a ton to do, but
but it's a fine performance.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah.
Not a fine performance. It's a fine performance.
I agree.
Okay, now here's one that we discussed a lot last week. Mainly for what it isn't rather than what it is.
Yeah.
Hugh Quarshie, which is an incredible last name.
Terrific name.
In the role of Captain Panaka.
Captain Panaka. A Ghanaian actor.
Really?
Yep. Born in Ghana, member of the Royal Shakespeare Company. So another great, I mean, remember, this film is shot in England, and so obviously Lucas is drawing from the rich tradition of stage acting there, and is correctly assuming that Shakespearean actors can lend almost anything gravitas, even if it's, space nonsense.
Not to mention, this guy has been in Nightbreed. He's been in Highlander.
Oh, he's in Highlander.
He's done some horror movies. He's done some sci-fi movies. So he, in the past, has shown his ability to lend some gravitas and some weight to, sillier sort of cult genre
Wing Commander,
films.
Doctor Who. He's done a lot of English TV. He's done a lot.
Yeah.
One interesting piece of trivia for him: he openly refuses to play Othello because he finds the role demeaning for a black man to play.
First thing I'll say for him, I had no idea he was British. He does a great American accent in this film.
Yeah.
It's flawless. I think he does what's asked of him fairly well.
Yeah. I think our problem with him is more what we wish the role could be and not really what he's doing.
But this is the question. He's not a comedic actor. He's a Shakespearean actor.
Yeah.
Can we blame him for not making the role funnier, as proposed in Conor Ratliff's theory?
Conor Ratliff's theory I love, but it's not like as written. Panaka is firing off zingers.
Right. That would require either a rewrite.
Yeah.
An extreme
or
pass
improv,
on the script.
A lot of ad-libbing.
Bring on someone who's going to really riff on set. I'm inclined to give Hugh Quarshie a solid pass.
I agree, because he's just, when he's in there in the final action scene, it seems you believe that he's a guy who can lead troops and fire a weapon and do all that stuff.
Yeah, and there's a moment I really like in his performance where he comes in and presents R2-D2 to her. And he's he goes I believe his name is, and he looks in the back and goes, R2-D2. Yeah, he's I kind of like him in it. Okay. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Ahmed Best.
Ahmed Best playing the role of
Jar Jar Binks. Now, it says voice, but I believe he also performed the role physically.
Yes, physically he was on set wearing a suit and with his face exposed that they used as reference, but in certain scenes and shots, when you are just seeing one of his appendages, for example, when he's grabbing the wrench from the pod racer,
okay,
or when his feet are up on the table in the Royal Starship, it is actually just his body in a suit.
That's interesting.
There are like 4 isolated shots.
There's a couple shots where it's actually him.
The arm or the leg, when his face isn't on screen, you're not seeing full body, it is him. But he was on set the whole time.
And it was his first film. He had been an extra in Morgan Freeman high school drama Lean On Me.
And he had also been in the off-Broadway stage show Stomp.
Right. That was where he, that's a physical.
Yep.
So I assume that, he's almost giving a clown-like performance in Stomp, maybe. So maybe that's where Lucas got the idea.
You're making noises, you're moving around.
Yeah. But that's not really. We're not really distressed with the physical.
It's the vocal
aspect of this. It's the vocal.
It's the vocal. Now, here's my question to you, David.
Yeah, please shoot.
Were you handed some sides? For an audition. They handed you some sides for audition. They went, hey, David, do you want to read for Untitled 1999 Sci-Fi Project?
Okay, right.
And you read it, and the opening line goes, Oopsie day, Misa so thankful for you saving my life. Misa never know gonna how I repay you.
I forgot about Oopsie day.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you're asking me, how do I not give that some kind of inflection? Especially if he's a Jamaican actor or a Caribbean, I forget.
Yeah.
I forget where he was
I've watched interviews with him. He doesn't speak with a Caribbean accent. I think he comes from that background. I'm sure he had family members who he was able to reference.
He's a New Yorker, I guess, but he's of Caribbean descent.
Yes, right, Caribbean descent. Yeah, I mean, I guess my question is there any way to play what is written for you properly?
I don't know. And I also think we would love to know just how that direction went. If there was the direction of like...
Now,
Ben.
I found in the quote section, in response to the Jar Jar Binks character representing a black stereotype, he says, you know what? You got to check your head and examine your own beliefs. Jar Jar is an orange frog. Heads need to relax. That shit is crazy. I just thought I was doing a funny role. I didn't know that the Jedi were a metaphor for the man.
Okay, so let's put him in the bad column. Because that's fucking ridiculous.
I do like that he calls him an orange frog.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I mean...
I was going to play devil's advocate and kind of let him off the hook saying he was playing what was written.
Yeah.
But if he read what was written and had no part of his brain ping that maybe it was going to read that way...
I'm not going to judge the man, but I mean... If you're asking me if he gave a good performance,
no, he didn't. It's not a good performance. It's not a good performance.
Okay, so next is Anthony Daniels playing the barely seen C-3PO, a half-built robot who lives in a sand hut.
Small role.
Small, somewhat comic role. He's sort of provides some commentary on R2-D2's antics. Mostly just stands there. Doesn't really do
much of the plot. This is what I like about it, okay? And I don't know what this guy Daniel's background is. I don't know what other work he's done.
English actor.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I like the fact that you only get a little taste of this character, but it feels fully developed.
That's true.
You know? It's
Lived in.
Sometimes you see someone play the role they were born to play. You see John Hamm take the role of Don Draper.
Donnie Drapes.
And you go, oh, God. It's like he's been playing this for years already.
Right.
You watch Anthony Daniels fit into C-3PO and you go, man, it feels like he's been playing this role for 22 years.
I think you're absolutely right. It really did feel like a 22-year legacy.
Yeah, a vintage, you know? He was also a physical performer.
Yeah.
The C-3PO puppet was so skinny that he stood behind it and puppeteered it, and then they
I didn't know that. Okay.
Green screened him out. But he was on set performing the actual puppeteering of
and doing the voice.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah. I think it's a good column. It's a minor performance.
Yeah, no, let's give it a good.
Let's give him a good. Kenny Baker in the role of R2-D2.
Interesting. He's a small man who's inside the suit.
He's a little person.
He's a little person.
Inside of a rubbit. I don't know. How do you judge this?
He R2 moves with a real sort of natural kind of, I don't know. Let's give him a good. How can we say it's bad?
Let's put it other. Not to other him. It's not because he's a little person. We can't judge that, right?
It's hard to
We
judge
can't.
It. All right.
The thing moves well. I don't know. Who knows how much robotics? I don't know. Frank Oz in the role of Yoda.
As a voice.
A famous Muppeteer.
Mm-hmm.
At the time of the theatrical release, it was a puppet.
That's true.
And then it was done in CGI.
For the re-releases.
Yes, the 3D re-release.
Yeah, and the Blu-ray.
One more attempt at getting that franchise started through a 3D re-release. I
don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I really don't like this character.
I don't either. And it's hard to judge it because all we have is one movie to go off of.
Yeah, it's really, really hard to judge this character.
But you look at what this character does in this one film, and he's a dick.
So awful.
He's a dick. He talks in a weird way. It's not funny.
No, and he's not even trying to be funny. He's being serious in everything he says.
And it feels like the best way to play this character would be with a mix of humor and gravitas.
You would maybe want to just like lead maybe with a comical sort of punch, and then then you can bring in some gravitas later.
Because physically he's kind of funny looking. You think a great thing would be to have this character enter, think he was some weird swamp creature.
You call Jar Jar an orange frog? This guy's a green frog.
Right.
Yeah.
You bring this guy in and go, what's this guy's deal? He looks like a nothing, and then reveal he's a Jedi Master.
Yeah.
That would be like
that's
great
right.
arc.
Appearances can be deceiving, right?
Right. What if like Yoda was outside the Jedi Council High Tower, right? Like, cop, a spare change you may have.
Right, but then it turns out he's been watching you all along. He still seems creepy.
Right. I would love that. But I think
it's a bad
performance. And Frank Oz.
Fuck you, Frank Oz.
I'm as big a
what
Muppet head as you will ever find.
You are. It's true.
I'm insane about the Muppets.
I'm a decent director.
I like his movies a lot. Little Shop of Horrors is maybe my single favorite movie musical, I would say. Personal favorite.
Right.
It pains me to say it, but this is not a good performance.
Yeah, he hasn't directed a good movie in years, but I love Bowfinger.
I love Bowfinger. I love Little Shop.
I like In and Out.
Yeah, I do too.
Kind of like I like What About Bob? I like Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
I even like House Sitter. Was that what's called? House Guest?
Yeah, House Sitter. House Guest is with Sinbad.
Right, I always get them confused.
And I watched and loved The Indian in the Cupboard when I was a kid. I haven't seen it in a long time.
So
anyway, Frank Oz,
you're a good
guy.
You got
a great legacy. What the fuck are you thinking? Yeah. All right, next Terrence Stamp. As Chancellor, and he gets the end, I believe, in this film.
I know. Now,
in the credits,
as Connor explained to us, his role was apparently originally bigger.
Yeah,
and he went,
just was
fuck
like,
this,
no, thank you,
and stepped away,
and had a big old boner for Natalie Portman.
He wants to dock in that port.
His IMDb portrait, by the way, is magical. He's wearing a big scarf, and he looks real cute.
He's on the red carpet for Valkyrie.
I think Terrence Stamp is wonderful in this movie. I don't
really?
know. I don't know what else to say. I think that he has, as far as I remember, maybe 2 or 3 scenes. He greets Amidala.
Yeah.
His big scene is when he's in the Senate trying to corral these bunch of alien loonies, and then
flying through the air like the uncle from Mary Poppins.
I love the Great Kazoo.
It's like he's just bubbling up in the air like the Great Kazoo.
Like the Great Kazoo. Yeah. And then Amidala does the vote of no confidence, and he sinks. Komiti. And he sinks into his chair just defeated. And that's the one, I think he just sells it. You feel like it's a turning point in the film because I think as the audience, we immediately realize this might be a bad idea, getting rid of this guy.
I think that might have not been a moment of conscious acting on his part. I think that might have been something they found in the editing room later. They didn't realize the camera was rolling. It was when he went, so when is Natalie showing up? And when she's shooting her scene separately, and then he just sunk into his chair.
Oh, God. This podcast is so slanderous towards Terrence Stamp.
I know. We're trying to get him in jail. Yeah. This is the Jinx, but with Terrence Stamp.
Ooh, he'd be a good Robert Durst.
He'd be a great Robert Durst, actually.
Wow.
I love Terrence Stamp as an actor.
Me too.
I think he's one of our finest.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a good performance.
Uh-oh, Ben.
When I say it's a bad performance, I don't know, but I think he doesn't do much with it. I think he seems kind of dead. Like, he does seem dispirited about being in the film.
I agree with you, but I think that's all good material that he's using.
But I'd argue stacked against his other work, knowing what he's capable of.
I want Ben to rule.
And I hate the fact that he just wanted to fuck Natalie that much.
You just hate that.
Yeah. Ben?
Well, I'm not going to let that be part of my decision.
Okay, be impartial.
We're talking about the acting.
Yep.
So I'll say it's very not memorable, his performance.
That's kind of my argument.
Okay.
Like, I understand what you're saying, but it's like not anything that really stuck out to me.
I totally understand, and that is that, and he's ruled bad.
Okay.
Next is Brian Blessed as Boss Nass, who apparently, we learned last week, just hung out on set a lot until being cast as the sort of Caribbean leader of a frog race.
Yeah.
Who has a lot of vocal tics.
Yeah.
He goes... He does that, and he does that. and he has the same irritating racist cadence and vocabulary as Jar Jar Binks with the "you sir, me sir thinking," all that stuff.
But it comes off a lot better with him.
It does. I mean, it's harder to come off worse than Jar Jar Binks.
I know.
Yeah.
And yes, he is still doing a Caribbean-like accent.
And unlike Ahmed Bed, Brian Blessed is a white man.
Yeah, but something about Jar Jar comes off so step and fetchety.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the problem with Jar Jar is how stupid and clumsy he is. And
sure,
falls into a lot of the worst traditions
authority.
of minstrelry and blackface from our history. Whereas Brian Blessed is playing a fairly regal character. He is respectable.
Yeah.
He's a boss.
He's a bit of a buffoon, I would say. Like, he seems a little fat-headed and...
Sure, but this is George slamming politics at large. He doesn't like politicians.
Right.
Also seemingly doesn't like anybody. This movie is just anti-humanity, anti-soul.
Anyway, if you're arguing for him to be in the yes column, I'd say fine, because it could have been so much worse. And if I have a problem with, the actor they chose to play this role and the way they chose to write it, that's different.
Next performance, Andy Secombe.
Secombe, I think.
Secombe.
Yes. Another English actor, a Welsh actor, I believe.
Credited as Andrew Secombe in the role of Watto.
Yes. Son of the late Sir Harry Secombe, CBE. I think another
actor. So it comes from a line of actors.
So he plays the role of Watto. Mm-hmm. Now, we haven't talked a lot about Watto.
My favorite character in the film.
Yeah.
He had done a lot of TV and a couple small British films before Episode 1. And since Episode 1, he has largely reprised the role of Watto
in video games
and Lego specials.
Who knows how he got this role?
It's kind of curious. I'm assuming he's mostly a stage actor, right?
One assumes.
Yeah.
And he's got the voice. He's doing a very pronounced voice. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you want to do an impression of Watto.
I will in 1 second. I just want to point out he's been married to Caroline Bliss since September 1995. Good for him.
20 years.
Nice to make it work.
20 years this September.
Marriage is a full-time job, It's
You're
not a walk
me.
in the park.
You're telling me.
We've been married for 25 years.
We look forward to our sequel podcast about our marriage.
Yeah,
talking marriage.
I have a great faith in the boy.
It's I really don't know what to say about this performance.
I love Watto. I am in the tank for Watto.
The genesis of this podcast was you tweeting the words Watto, though, and me replying to it.
That was the whole tweet. And that came 4 months. That's literally why this podcast exists. That we started tweeting Watto jokes at each other.
Yeah.
You brought up the chance cube. Then we took it from Twitter to a private text message and went, wait a second, should we do?
Yeah.
We started just texting each other names of episode 1 characters to see who could come up with a funnier name, who could have the better pull, and then you went, wait, we should do a podcast. Yeah. That is the origin of this.
Initially, this was going to be like a 30-episode podcast where we only talked about one character
Each episode, we just went into the backstory of one character and discussed it for an hour.
Okay, I think we need to...
Watto, THO. That came off of a very successful run of tweets I'd had 6 months later where I wrote, bad news, went to the doctor today. Tests are inconclusive, but he thinks I have Watto fever. And then kept on posting about Watto fever and the side effects with different pictures of Watto. And those tweets got literally in the 6s or 7s of retweets. I love Watto. He was the first action figure I bought. I remember distinctly, you asked last week as part of the Taco Bell, Phantom Menace, KFC, Pizza Hut, Rule the Galaxy thing, which planet was which. Mos Eisley was... Mos Espa, sorry. Misspeak there for random gibberish. Mos Espa was definitely the Taco Bell Tatooine, right? The planet Tatooine. The trashiest one. Because I remember, in addition to each store having like 8 toys you had to collect, in a future episode I want to read out the list of all these toys because the names of them are incredible.
Sure.
And you can imagine what kind of gimmicks. They're each like a little spring-loaded thing.
Yeah.
With amazing titles. But they also each had cups, collectible cups. Not like collectible glasses.
No, like plastic cups.
They were big plastic, like big gulp cups. And the design of the cups were the body of its respective character. Each store had 4 cups.
Okay.
This is the merchandise sidebar for this week.
Right.
Each store had 4 cups. So the cup just looked like Watto's body. It looked like Watto's tummy.
Yeah.
With his little legs. And then the top of the cup, there was like a bust of the character.
Okay.
It was actually more than a bust because it had arms that you could move and a head. So it was like half of an action figure on top of a cup. You'd stick a straw in Watto's back, and I had that cup, and I drank the shit out of it.
I bet you did.
I drank the shit from it. I drank the shit out of the stuff I drank from that cup.
We understand.
Watto Cup was my favorite. Watto is my best friend. I'm strongly going to vote for this being a good performance.
All right, I'm not going to argue with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I thought that was going to be a fight.
No, because I think that, again, I probably have a lot of problems with Watto as character and Watto as voice, but he sells the shit out of the voice.
And he's funny. He's got good timing.
What's this? A Jedi thing?
Yeah, no, it's true. And that's an important moment because,
I'm a Toydian. We don't do Jedi tricks.
Toydarian. No, it's, the Jedi have been invincible thus now, and he gives such a and he's got a good laugh.
Yeah.
He's well animated. Watto's a great character.
Watto's one of the great characters in all of modern cinema.
David Schwimmer made me aware. He is a bit of a Jewish slaver.
Yeah, and he's got an uncircumcised nose.
Next is Ray Park as Darth Maul.
Now, here's what's interesting. A physical performance. His voice for his one line of dialogue, 2 lines of dialogue was...
dubbed by Peter Serafanowicz.
So just judging as a physical performance, this is a great performance.
Yeah, he's a martial artist, and he was a gym teacher. He was,
All that's called upon him is to be menacing, which he does well. The makeup does a lot of the work.
But that is him.
But he has good physicality, and the fight scenes are incredible. No stunt guy, it's all him.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And he'd been in Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Okay,
and the year after this, he was in X-Men as Toad, which I think is his best performance.
Yeah, he's funny in that.
Yeah,
he's got dialogue. So that's an easy notch in the good column.
Yeah, Ray Park did a good job.
Lewis McLeod as the voice of Sebulba.
He's great.
Really?
We haven't gotten into Sebulba yet.
I don't like this performance.
You don't like Sebulba?
I don't like the choice of voice. I love Sebulba as a character.
Okay.
His voice has always been my least favorite part.
Do his voice.
I
like his voice. I'm into Sebulba.
I would go bad performance on Sebulba. Ben, how would you weigh in?
Yeah, Ben, you're gonna have to break this tie. I like Sebulba.
Voice, just the voice. I like Sebulba once again. I don't like the voice.
Fuck, I don't know.
I like Sebulba as a physical character, but not as a voice. And that's all we're judging for this performance.
We're gonna have to flip a coin.
Yeah, this is really tough.
Ben,
I actually can't make. I know I'm supposed to be the judge.
Ben, break out the chance cube.
Okay.
You have failed in your service as the Robert Duvall of our podcast. Chance cube. Okay,
that's
so
red. That's blue.
Red means good performance. Bad means bad performance. Chance cube on the table, and here we go. Fuck, it went good.
Good performance, Lewis, whatever your name is.
Okay, Warwick Davis.
Warwick Davis. He plays a bunch of people. I don't think we should be judging multiple performances.
It's tough.
Who the hell is Wald?
Pod race. Wald is the green little alien
Annie's
boy.
buddy.
Annie's buddy.
Yeah.
Not vocal. He waves his arms around a lot. Pod race spectator. That's him out of makeup. He's in Watto's viewing box at the pod race.
Okay.
It's just him with the dumb hair.
And he's a Mos Esposito, and who knows? I don't think he did a good job.
No,
I don't know who you are, Warwick Davis.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
All right, Steve Spires as Captain Tarples. That's the Jar Jar's.
Jar Jar, you saying big doo-doo now.
Yes, yeah. No, thank you. no, thank you.
Hard pass on that one.
Another Welsh actor. He's also in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, apparently.
Okay.
Anyway, Silas Carson, who plays Newt Gunray, the lead Nemoidian, and Ki-Adi-Mundi, who is a Jedi.
Yep.
And Lot Dodd is another Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And a Republic cruiser pilot. So he's all over this movie.
But this is as physical performances. I believe he's not the voice.
You're probably right. I don't know. Ooh, he's a handsome man.
Really?
Very handsome. Silas.
I'm scrolling down to check. If he was the voice as well...
He also is the voice of the Ood in Doctor Who.
He's not the voice. Well, he's great as the Ood.
He is.
Yeah.
He's not the voice of Newt Gunray?
He's not.
Well, as the guy who physically embodies those roles, he's fine.
I would say he's bad.
Great. Let's mark him down as bad.
Great. I hate everything about those characters. I don't want to give anyone any credit.
I don't know any of the next person's
Drum Blake, Masamita.
No, who are these people? No,
Jedi Council,
this can't
Ornfrita,
count. This can't count.
Runaku. You don't want to, the people who are just the physical, you don't want to count these people?
I don't know who any of these people are in this movie, and I've watched this movie like 10 times.
So are we taking back our bad vote for Silas Carson?
No, because he's important enough.
I can tell you who all these people are.
Oh my god.
Rune Haku is like the assistant to Newt Gunray. Masamita is the one with like the brown skin and like tattoos all over his face and horns and long hair. Yeah. Ornfree Ta is another one of the fucking It's not a good performance.
No. All right. Okay? Yeah, mark him no.
Yeah.
Alan Rusko plays Bib Fortuna, who's Jabba's sort of secretary.
Yep.
Yeah.
Plo Koon. Who's the beetle face guy, the one who looks like a cockroach.
Right. Yeah.
I'm
going to say no. I'm going to say it feels like Bib Fortuna could have been done better. Maybe by a different actor?
Yeah, I do like Plo Koon, though. Yeah, let's vote against it.
Okay.
Yeah, Bib Fortuna feels like an unexplored character. Ralph Brown as Rick Ollier.
Oh, he's awful.
Agreed.
He is so bad. That's the sort of the Naboo starfighter pilot. He's the pilot of the princess's ship. He has a bunch of annoying scenes, and he really sucks. I hate him.
He's really bad.
Is he in the final starfight? I forget. Is he in a Naboo?
He's such a non-entity.
He's a piece of shit.
Okay, these next three are Celia Emery, who's a great actress.
Oh, I love her.
Is currently seen in the second best Exotic Marigold Hotel.
That's right.
Benedict Taylor and Clarence Smith
so
as
they're
Fighter
all
Pilot
in the Bravo
5,
Squadron,
2, and 3. I don't remember any of these people being in the
I remember
movie.
her in it. They're all fine, but I don't think we can count them.
Yeah, I agree with that. We skip.
Ooh. Yeah, we'll skip them, but we'll go to Samuel L. Jackson.
As Mace.
Another Academy Award-nominated actor.
Jedi Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Mace Windu.
I think he's all right, actually.
I think he's all right.
Yeah, I think that, again, like Neeson, he has to project a lot of authority with very little. And he does that well.
He's another guy with presence.
Mace Windu's a bit of a jerk.
Yeah.
But he's not quite as bad as Yoda, who openly mocks a child for being scared.
Right.
He's a little more forgiving. He's just he has a sort of formality to him, a little stiffness that all the Jedi seem to have. Anyway, let's give him a good.
Let's give him a good.
Dominic West is a palace guard. Don't remember him in the movie.
I remember him. He's not good.
Oh, sorry, Dom.
Yeah.
You hadn't figured it out yet.
Later goes on to be McNulty in The Wire. He's
great actor.
He's out of his element here.
All right, we have to skip the next three.
That's Rebe, Arete, Yane.
Then we have Sofia Coppola as Sashay. Now, apparently she's in this movie. She's very difficult to spot.
Yeah, I think
she's
it's
another
also
of the
not
handmaidens. But Keira Knightley as Sabe.
Doing the... really the majority
a lot of Amidala.
The heavy lifting as Amidala. I would argue Keira Knightley, I think, is a very underrated actress.
Yeah.
Two well-deserved Academy Award nominations.
One who grew. She's an actress who's,
not a good performance.
No, it's a bad performance.
Not a good performance.
And a better performance might have helped that whole ridiculous plotline.
Yeah, she looks physically uncomfortable on camera.
Yeah, she does. Which is understandable because she's wearing a lot of bullshit.
Brana Gallagher plays Public Cruiser Captain.
Sorry, Brana, I don't know who you are. John Fensom is the physical TC-14.
In the suit for TC-14. With that real sort of come hither, Marilyn Monroe
sort of herky-jerky.
Fuck me physicality. He's really playing sort of the eye candy of the movie.
I agree.
I feel, not conflicted that it was played by a man. It's certainly broadening my sexual horizons because I really, really want to fuck TC-14 with every movement. I would argue it's a good performance.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine.
That John Fensom in the suit.
All right, now Greg Proops as Fode.
Who is one of the two-headed pod race
Scott Capurro plays Bede, but Bede's and lines are all in Huttese.
Yeah, I would argue that Bede's performance is bad and Fode is good.
You think Fode is good? Now, you should listen to Matt Gorley's podcast. I was there too, where he interviewed Greg Proops about making this movie, and it seems like a very frustrating process. Although he's very kind to Lucasfilm for like sort of inviting him back to do video games, things like that.
Sure.
But he improvised a lot of those lines. He improvised some pretty annoying lines, like "I don't care what universe you're from, that's gotta hurt."
At the time of the release of The Phantom Menace, which was,
and I love Greg Proops,
the best one I've seen.
He's really funny. Yeah.
Whose Lines Are They was my favorite show on TV. I was so excited about the fact that a Whose Line guy was in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I also distinctly remember my dad taking a phone call after we saw Phantom Menace. We went out to dinner.
Sure.
And he went, it was loud.
That was his...
And then he hung up, and I went, you didn't like it? Because I was like, that's the best movie ever. And he went, I thought the announcer was funny.
So that stuck with you.
He laughed through all of the announcer. My dad loves sports. He loves sports commentators. He thought it was funny to place it in.
I don't know why I'm being mean. Proops did good.
And he also, it's kind of one modern, relatable element in a film that is so distant from our own reality.
And not only that, but like there's some humor there that's just sorely lacking.
Right. So I think we give him a point, and Scott Capurro is in the bad column.
Sorry, Scott. Apparently, Scott Capurro initially recorded all his lines in English. Later, was told he had to dub them in Huttese. Yes.
So not his fault, but it's not a good performance.
All right. Now there's a bunch of people who are not.
These are Jedis, non-speaking roles. Them. Michelle Taylor played Yarel Poof, clearly a homophobe. As an actress. We're skipping ahead to these. Oh boy, skipping straight down to Lindsay Duncan as the voice of TC-14.
That's one we really wanted to get to.
Oh boy, like pouring honey on a dick, you know?
Absolutely.
Pouring honey on
Lindsay
my
Duncan, dick. I could just tell you, there's like a half dozen things you should watch right away.
What quick recommendations? Because this is an easy.
Last year's The Honorable Woman, a wonderful.
Yeah, my brother's crazy about that. I gotta watch it.
The Weekend with Jim Broadbent. That's a
great
little movie.
That's a lovely little movie.
She's the mother in About Time. I don't remember her being very central to About Time, but she's good.
She's very good in it. There's the scene where he comes to visit when Bill Nye's dying, and she has I forget what her dialogue is, but she said it's someone grieving in process, knowing that she's losing the love of her life.
I think her performance as Margaret Thatcher that your French uncle loved.
Jean-Claude, my uncle.
Oh, sorry. Well, he's French.
Yeah,
your French uncle.
Right.
I thought
you said your friend.
Your friend uncle.
Yeah.
She's in Rome. She was great in Rome.
Yeah, she's great in everything. This is
my
an easy good column.
My favorite Lindsay Duncan performance, I just want to get down to it, is in the 2001 BBC miniseries Perfect Strangers that everyone should watch with Michael Gambon and Matthew McFadden. It's great. My
favorite Lindsay Duncan performance is as the voice of TC-14 in the wet dream that I had last night. That is my favorite.
All right, so she's a good.
She's a great.
Okay.
Peter Serafinowicz.
He's Darth Maul,
the voice of a battle droid commander and a Gungan scout.
He kills it.
Good voice.
He just kills it.
Yeah, it's an easy pass. James Taylor as the voice of Rune Haku. Get the fuck out of here, James Taylor. I assume this is James Taylor, the musician, singer of Fire and Rain. I can only assume.
Who's Rune Haku again?
He's one of the Nemoidians. He's the one.
Is he the one who's kind of like? He's like behind him.
Yeah.
He's
there
like
he
is.
Assist,
He's Who's the Nemoidian with like the shit all over her face?
Oh God! I wish I knew her name. She's got like the robot eyes.
Yeah,
she's got like
crazy.
Robot glasses. She's the worst.
What's up with that person?
She's the worst. Okay, so he's a British actor. He's on a ton of TV, including Fawlty Towers.
Wow. Jimmy.
The Prisoner. He was on 11 episodes.
He was in A Cry in the Dark.
Oh no, not The Prisoner. It was just called Prisoner. He was in a movie called Lawrence from Outer Space. Yeah, Plenty. He was also in Plenty. He did 2 different films with Meryl Streep. This is an awful performance. We can agree.
You blew it, buddy.
We've been mocking this. Who knows who was the first one to come up with the voice? He was only playing along.
But he's doing the voice just like Newt Gunray. Wait,
yes.
Do we ever figure out who voices Newt Gunray?
Senator Lot Dodd is also one of the Nemoidians. Toby Longworth, also a white British man. Also the voice of Gragra.
Who we haven't discussed Gragra
We'll
yet.
get to Gragra. We might do a whole Gragra episode. Gragra's one of the reasons we started doing this podcast.
Absolutely.
Both of those are bad performances. No question.
Did
Both
we
of those
ever
are bad
get to the voice of Newt Gunray?
It must be further down here.
No, it's not. I think that Silas Carson is the voice of Newt Gunray.
Hold on, because that would be
a problem.
Roman Coppola, uncredited as Senate guard.
Yeah.
Bruce Sisson. I'm going through all these uncredited here. Gonk droids.
I think that's it.
Will you pull up Wikipedia? Do you have
I am
Wikipedia
pulling up
on your
Newt
phone?
Gunray's entry right now. This is going to be the grand conclusion of this podcast.
Because I don't see any other ones that really needed to be covered. We went through all the big ones.
How the freaking Wikipedia pretends like it's real, so it doesn't tell you who played him.
Yeah,
you have to go way down to find
this episode is sponsored by IMDb and not by Wikipedia.
Yeah,
Wikipedia, get off your fucking high horse.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, he was played by Silas Carson and played by that's it. Yeah.
Okay, so you were going to vote for him to be in the good column.
No, he's out of the good column.
He's not.
He was the voice of Newt Gunray.
Right. Yeah, he was in the bad column originally.
He stays in the bad column.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's our final tally.
Yeah.
1 vote for other.
Yeah, good job, Kenny.
Yeah, good job, but we can't call that a good performance.
Hey, you move it around a lot.
Yeah, and a lot of it feels CGI.
Oh boy.
In the good column.
Okay.
15.
Okay. Pretty good.
We voted that there were 15 good performances in this one.
I'm immediately regretting that, but okay.
Yep, me too. I think we went a little too easy on this film.
In the bad column?
But 2 of those 15 were TC-14. And in the bad column, 17.
Okay.
So we have officially decided that the acting in Phantom Menace is bad, but only by a hair.
On balance, it's bad, but,
it's a squeaker.
There's some good stuff in there.
It's a squeaker.
Did we say Natalie Portman was good? No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
Okay,
no.
good.
I'm
already forgetting.
I do, yeah. Looking at this list, I feel
we
good.
were a little too nice.
We were too nice.
And I like the movie, but...
Yeah. I would say that we're going to get a lot of viewer hate mail for this, but good thing we have never disclosed our emails on this show. So
you could my email is on my Twitter account.
Yeah, feel free to tweet at us. Tell us if you disagree with any of these performances. I'm Griff Lightning on Twitter.
I'm David L. Sims.
We are both also on the Star Wars Card Trader app under those names if you want to make a trade.
I got a green Lando. I don't know if people want it.
It's weird, though. It feels like there are a lot of expanded universe characters in this app because there are a lot of characters who aren't in Phantom Menace.
Yeah, like I don't know who Lando is, but I got a green one.
Yeah. There's a character named Han Solo. Who I have like 27 of. So if anyone wants a Han Solo, I don't care about characters who aren't in the movie. Maybe he's from one of the fucking video games. He looks kind of like a young Harrison Ford. I don't give a shit. I like cool-looking aliens. This is just some dude with a fucking haircut and a vest.
I got a bunch of C-3POs.
He looks like Alan Starzinski. He's just a dude in a vest. And that's a shout out to Alan Starzinski, who really wants to be on this podcast.
Okay. Yeah, look forward. We're going to have some guests in the future, I think. Right? We're working on that.
Yeah, this was another
Solo Bolo.
Burr down.
Hold down.
Yeah, but we have some guests in the works that I think will be exciting. So tweet us if you disagree. Tweet at
David L. Sims.
David L. Sims, Griff Lightning, Star Wars Card Trader. Tweet at
Comedy.
JLibNicky.
Yeah.
Tweet hashtag yes Jake.
It's Jonathan Lipnicki.
His Twitter account is JLibNicky.
Oh, no, I thought you said Jake Lipnicki.
No. You hashtag yes Jake, saying yes, you agree that Jake is bad in the Phantom Menace.
Is Jake Lloyd on Twitter? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think he wants to avoid the abuse. Yeah. Look, I think child actors should be able to live in, whatever kind of lives they want, in relative peace, not be pestered for their past work, be able to live normal life. So for that reason, I encourage you to go on Twitter and blindly tweet at JLibNicky. Hashtag yes Jake. I'm trying to get him to block me on as many different Twitter accounts as possible. Because the last podcast I hosted, Talking TCGS, in which Ben produced and you were often a guest. Yeah. He blocked us.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. Another one for the record books. 5 episodes of just talking about the Phantom Menace.
Not acknowledging anything else.
Not comparing it to other movies that may or may not exist. And
all right.
All stemming out of one tweet.
Watto, though.
Watto, THO, period. So I'm proud of myself. David, are you proud of yourself?
I'm so proud.
Ben, are you proud of yourself?
I'm proud.
Put that 3 in the good column. We're the best podcast of all time. Thank you for listening and tune in next week. Bye!